Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Drawing Science. Today we are going to learn how to draw a snail. Alright, so this idea came from my good friend Chelsea, who wanted to see how to draw a snail. So we're going to do that today. And again, if you're new to this channel, new to these drawing exercises, I'm doing this digitally. And so I'm going to use a red pencil. Usually I use blue, and that would be like light pencil if you're doing it traditionally. That way you can erase the lines or do a little bit of guidelines, and then you can go over with a darker pencil or marker, whatever you would care to draw with. But today our topic is going to be snails. Now snails are pretty cool animals, and of course they are known for having the shell on their back, and we're going to start with that shell. This is a fun thing to draw because basically we are going to draw a spiral, just like so. I'm going to go around a couple times. Where I end the spiral is very important, okay? I ended it right here. I don't want to end it up here or my snail would be falling over. We don't want the snails falling over. So this is our snail shell. Pretty easy, pretty simple to do. And next thing I'm going to do is give my snail a tail. So this is going to be the back of the snail right here. I'm going to come out and I'm going to give him, just for fun, I'm going to have his tail go up like this, and you'll see why in a little bit. I'm also going to give him a head. Snails need a head. By the way, snails are, of course, animals. They are in the phylum Mollusca, which means they're related to things like clams and oysters, scallops and squid and octopus. Specifically, they are in a group called gastropods, which means stomach, foot, and that's kind of what's down here is their stomach, which they walk on like a foot. All right, on to the head. So we're going to come out of the front of the shell here, and I'm going to just come up like this little circle, half circle, just like so. This is going to be the top of our snail's head. Now, snails have eyes, and they are on top of these tentacle eye stalks. So if you did my How to Draw a Squid, we talked about the difference between arms and tentacles. Here's an example of why we say that octopus don't have tentacles. These are tentacles. The eyes are tentacles on a squid. And on top of those eye stalks, there are little circles. Those are going to be our squid eyes. We'll give them a little pupil here. Okay, very good. Now, squid also have a mouth, and that mouth is pretty funky looking. Again, look at some pictures of real real snails before you draw your snail or while you're drawing your snail. Get some actual reference. We're going to do sort of this cartoony-ish version, but know what the real animals look like. It'll help to make your cartoon one look even better. Now, for the mouth, I'm going to do this. I'm going to come down with a little lump like this and a smaller lump like that and just connect it right there. There we go. Now they got little fun dorky mouths. They've also got another set of tentacles. I almost said antennas. Wrong phylum. All right, so here's another antenna here. Right there, and then another one right here. Right there, just like so. Now they use their antennas here. We know they use them to see. We don't know exactly how well snails see, but they definitely respond to light and dark. And these lower anterior tentacles, they use those to pick up different types of chemical reception. So that could be smell, taste, touch. It'll help them to find their food, tell them where danger is, all that kind of good stuff. All right, now on to the mouth. The lower part of the mouth is just going to be a little loop like this. This is where we're going a little more cartoony with our snail. And then I'm going to come down to about right here. This is just a little below the shell. See that? If I draw a little guideline there, a little below the shell. Now I'm going to go back to the tail, because here's why. I'm going to give the snail a curvy line, just like this. Curvy line that's going to connect right there. The snails have no bones in their bodies. They do have the hard shell, but that's it. And so their bodies are very squishy and flexible and that kind of thing. Now, all right, this is a basic shape of our snail, but we are not done yet. We have some things to add to our snail to really make it look snailish And here are the details we're going to add. First of all, I'm going to draw a line. I'm going to follow this line. It doesn't have to be perfect because your snails don't have scales. Your snail's skin is sort of flexible, so it doesn't have to be perfect, but draw a line kind of matches that bottom line. And then I'm going to do another one over here down this. Look at this. Just like that. Now check this out. Another little line in here. Boom! There we go. Now, a lot of times snails have a lot of texture on their skin, and texture can be indicated in art by lots of different ways. You can do things like dots, you can do things like cross hatching, you can do actual shading. For this one, we're going to do something pretty simple though. We're going to just make some little lines here. Yes, like so. Now, you don't have to do these for this part because you're probably not going to go over your guidelines exactly when you do your permanent lines on this, on your, I almost called it a squid again, on your snail there. But this is going to kind of, make it look kind of cool. And then they got lots of little bumps on their skin. And again, there's lots of ways you can do this. Just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to just do some circles. Notice I'm not even connecting these circles. Now you could if you want, but you don't have to. And don't forget to make some of your circles in places where you can only see part of the circle. Okay? All of your circles are right out in the middle. It's not going to look very good. It's going to look fake. So here we go. We're giving our our squid, our snail, some bumps, some little lumps and texture. You know what's really weird about snails is that they actually have a little opening right up here, and that's how they breathe. So they have a lung, and the terrestrial snails, I should say, this is a land snail, and yeah, they don't breathe through their mouth. Okay, they don't really have a nose per se, and that's how they breathe. Pretty crazy, right? Now, of course, we want some patterns on their shell, and you can get really fancy if you want, but here's what I like to do. I like to just put some lines on here, and check this out. If I make these lines curved, it's going to give our snail shell a three-dimensional impression, three-dimensional look. Look at that. If I just did this, I'm flattening that shell out. But by giving it sort of a curvy lines, I'm making the viewer's eye imagine that this is a curvy three-dimensional shell. Very cool. Just with lines. Just like that. Look at that. Very cool. All right, now, what's our snail missing? He's missing some ground. We're going to give him some ground, just to kind of indicate it here. But here's why I want to give him ground, because on the back, of course, snails are famous for their slime trails. Helps them to move and stuff like that. So I'm just doing a little circle back here to indicate this slime. But here's the fun part. This is why I lifted up the tail. I'm going to give him some slime, little sticky, gooey slime pieces attached to his tail. Isn't that awesome? Look at that. Very cool. All right, now I'm ready to go with my darker line. So here's what I'm going to do. For me, since I'm working digitally, which if you're curious, by the way, I'm doing this on an iPad Pro with the Apple Pencil. A wonderful invention. I love it. But again, if you're doing this with a pencil and paper, that's fine. It's not a problem. This is where you've been doing mostly light pencil. You're going to go over it now with darker pencil or a pen or marker or something like that. All right, so here we go. We're going to make these lines more permanent. So I'm going to start just like I did before with the shell here. And also, this is a good opportunity. You know, if you see something, you didn't like it, you can make your corrections right here. There we go. Come around like so. Look at this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to give it a little more of a curve. And look at this little curve here. This is going to also sell that three-dimensional part. See this little dip I gave the snail right here? I'm even going to shade that in just so you can see what I'm talking about there. Very cool. All right, here comes his head. Now look at this. I'm going to leave this red line in between there out. Put his eye up there. Give him a little pupil. Hello. Okay, this one I'm going to make the line go across because this eye is on the other side of his head. So you can see that line the way we're drawing this snail. It's a snail, Matt, not a squid. All right, now we're going to give him his little tentacles. Just a little rectangle sticking out here. Boop. And his little funny mouth. Look up some pictures of snails eating if you want to see something quite amusing. They're pretty crazy looking creatures. Now, here's another thing that you can do. I kind of did this in mine, and I don't know if I like it. So instead of doing this jaw, okay, I'm going to do this line here, but instead of going like here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start this here. See that? Now look, I don't have to go perfect to all of these lines. If I change these curves a little bit, it's no problemo, okay? But yeah, so I'm just going to leave it like that. Give him his little tail in here. Doop. By the way, slugs are basically snails with no shell. Also gastropods. The slug. Now the snail, a lot of their important internal organs, their digestive organs and lungs, if they're a terrestrial land snail, those are in the shell, up in the shell. So on a slug, they're just up in the back of it. Which, just a little trivia for you, I used to work at a zoo in St. Louis, and I took care of the famous banana slug, which gets its name because it is a large yellow slug from the Pacific Northwest. Such cool animals. If you like boba, those little spheres in your drinks, that's what their eggs look like. So every time I get a drink with boba, I think I'm drinking banana slug eggs. But I wouldn't really do that because they're really awesome. We had to keep them cold, though, because if they got too warm, like above the 40s or so, I think it was, Fahrenheit, they would kind of melt. So we had to keep them on ice during the day, and then we kept them in a refrigerator in the evening. And they did make lots of eggs. All right, so now I'm going to add that texture back in, little lines, just like that. We think of snails, or I think of snails maybe as not having all these intricacies and designs, but they really do. Some of them can be different colors. Most snails, terrestrial land snails, are probably browns and things like that. But check out some of the sea snails and sea slugs especially. Wow, they've got some bright, beautiful, beautiful colors. All right, I'm going to add some texture on the shell. Some little patterns. You can go crazy. You know, look up some snail shells. See some patterns. There's a lot of different species of snails, and they can have different types of patterns on their shells. So, you know, or make up your own. It's your drawing. Do what you want, man. You don't have to stick with what nature actually provides. I mean, you can, because it's pretty cool, but if you want to do your own, that's awesome. That's all right. Snails, by the way, are, depends on what type of snail. Some snails are herbivores, which means they're plant eaters. Some are carnivores, meat eaters, and then a lot of them are omnivores, and they just eat whatever, you know, whatever's available. All right, so we're going to give him this little land area here. Just kind of darken that in. Might even, here's another trick, a little art trick. When you want to show weight, like actual physical weight on something, make those lines a little darker, a little heavier there. Doing that on the bottom there, try and sell that a little bit. There we go. And now I'm going to make his slime trail. So look how I do this. I just do a line down. Look at how this kind of curves. That's important to make it look like that gooey slime that's kind of sticking to his stomach, his tail. And then I'm just going to come out here. This is, whoops, there's the land part, and then we'll just kind of attach that. And now all I have to do is I'm going to switch back to my other layer. Make sure I've got a good eraser here. And I'm going to erase my red lines, just like that. Now, if you work with like a marker or something, you can erase your pencil line usually pretty easily. Otherwise, just draw really light. And then, you know, you might have to go back over with your darker pencil lines after you erase those and fix it up, that sort of thing. But hey, that's it. You snailed it. So there's how to draw a snail. Lots of fun. I'm going to let you guys go if you want to be let go right now. But if you want to stick around, I'm just going to keep chatting a little bit and color this snail. But if not, thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more of these videos and give it a thumbs up. And please let me know what you think. Post some snail pictures down below so we can check them out. Love to see the work you guys are doing. If not, thanks for coming and watching this one, and I'll see you next time. For those of you that are sticking around, I'm going to go to, let's see, we're going to do this quickly. So we're just going to go to like an airbrush just so we can get done kind of quickly here. And I'm going to make our snail, what color should I make him? I'm going to make him kind of traditional snail colors, kind of a tannish color for his skin here. Well, that's way too big. All right, here we go. Ooh, that's orange. I made an orange. He's an orange snail. You know, this is a, if you look at the color that I picked, see if, I don't know if you can see it right here. It looks brown, so now I'm coloring and it looks orange, and you might wonder, well, what is going on, man? It's digital, it should be all good, right? Well, here's the thing, okay? Colors interact with other colors. So orange and green happen to be on the opposite end of the color wheel, and so if you put this color next to a green background, it's going to make that orange kind of stand out. Here, I'll show you what I mean. I'm going to change the background color because I can do that with digital stuff. Let's see if it looks different. Ooh, there, it looks really bright orange there. I don't know if you can see it changing on the computer screen or whatever you're watching on a little bit. Also, if I change the saturation, look, now it looks a little more tan. And if I go brighter, then it makes it look a little brighter. So you can do different things like that. It'll just change the way things look a little bit. We'll kind of get back to that other color. Now, I don't actually want my squid. I did it again. I don't want my snail to really look like, you know, orange. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this to a little bit darker brown here, and I'm going to leave some of that orange though for kind of highlights, you know, kind of a highlight area there. Give him some dark color here. He's going to have some shadow right under his shell right here, just a little shadow, little shell shadow. Really shell it. Sorry. I'm getting more comfortable with these, so the jokes, they do cometh. All right, kind of go with a real light tan now for underneath here. Ooh, that's bright. All right. So one thing you won't have to worry about as much if you're working traditionally is probably won't have to worry about these bright colors, because it just won't look as bright. Typically with traditional stuff, you don't get those bright colors, but that's kind of fun. It's kind of an advantage and or disadvantage of digital. There we go. We'll give him a little more light out here because this is actually kind of flailing out a little bit. There we go. All right, and we're gonna make him kind of a fun slug. He's a fun slug, and we're gonna give him a little bit of green on this fun little trail he's got here. A little bigger. Most of the time, this is probably closer to the other colors on your snail, but this is my cartoon snail, darn it, and I'm gonna make him whatever color I want. All right. There we go. Look at that. Again, the green and orange kind of goes nicely together. Now the background is green, so that is something to consider. Let's move on to the shell. Let's see, what color should his shell be? I'm going to go with another kind of a light tan again. Whoa, maybe we're gonna knock that down a little bit though. That's a little bright, Matt. Okay, I'll knock that down. There we go. Little bright. This is just a quick coloring too. I would take a lot more time with this if I was doing it for something else. I hate when people say that in videos. I shouldn't say that. I'm watching a tutorial and they're like, if I was doing this for myself, I would take like a lot more time. But since I'm doing it for you, I'm just gonna like speed through it, okay? But I don't mean that in a rude or way or anything like that. I just don't want you guys to have to watch me for 3 hours. Unless you want to, you know. Let me know in the comments below. Subscribe. Want to see me color for 3 hours? Hey, I can make it happen. Now the shell's going to need a little shading as well, and of course it kind of curves in on this edge here. See how this is making it look a little more 3D, and then again over here. There we go, just like that, and then over here as well. See, it's going underneath there. That's pretty good for our little cartoon squid. Give him a little darkness there. Oh, his eyes. Make his eyes kind of that color as well. There we go. Now we need his slime, and I really think his slime should be like bright green. But let's give him some like dirt to be walking on first. So I'm gonna like a dark brown here and just color that dirt in there. Now I'm not taking full advantage of this being a digital art piece, by the way, because I can do things with like different layers, kind of like I did with the red and the black pencil. But you can do a lot. There's a lot more tricks you can do. Now, I'm not one of those people that think that digital art is like cheating, because you still have to be able to do this stuff. Just because it's digital, it's just a tool that that allows for you to do some things that sometimes can take less time, which is kind of nice, and other times can do things that you just couldn't do with traditional media. So there's trade-offs, you know. Oh, look at this. It's like neon. Oh, look at that. Bright snail slime. Snail slime, by the way, is not bright green like this. Just in case you're wondering. It is usually pretty clear. We'll just kind of give it a little bit here too. Just kind of... Oh, there it is. And it helps them to move. That's what it's for. It's help them move. And you can sometimes see it if they've been going by, because it'll be like kind of shiny. Kind of a shiny thing. I'm going to dull that down a little because, my goodness, that is a little... Whoa! Sorry. It's another thing you can do. Look at this. Ooh, I can zoom in. I can zoom out. Digital art. It's awesome. Yeah. So we're even going to give the slime a little shade. How about that? How you like them apples? All right. All right, that's enough bad jokes and stuff for now. Well, listen, guys, again, thank you for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you like this channel. Please let me know what you think. Let me know what animals you'd like to see. Are these too fast, too slow? You can always pause them, but let me know. Are they too hard? Are they too easy? Just give me some feedback, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks for watching.